you.
Thank you, Ms. Apolio.
Yeah.
We'll review that again at the end, but so let's get started. So the topic, how can parents support a successful high school experience? So before we even touch on that, I want to let you know a little bit about me. So I've been at Sweetwater High School for over 10 years. In the district for over 20 years. I was also at a middle school, so I have a lot of experience in that area. I'm also a parent to three children. My oldest is already in college, my youngest is still in elementary school, and I have one right in the middle. So this first workshop that we're presenting comes from that point of view as a counselor, as a parent, and someone who's been in the community. I'm also a product of this district, so I've been here a long time. So hopefully, as we introduce some of these topics, that you'll learn something, maybe take a little something away. Hopefully more than less. So that's where I'm coming from. These are the topics that we're going to cover today in the workshop. We have Jupiter grades, communicating with your teenager and the school, and then homework and tutoring. Okay. The first topic is Jupiter grades. So Jupiter grades is not new to Sweetwater, nor is it new to the district, but it isn't one of those programs that we've had since we've been in school, or some of you have been in school. So I would say it isn't new, but it isn't anything too old. It started about 5 years ago. At the beginning, we didn't have too many parents using it, but it varied. But I still think it's a very important topic to cover because this is a big issue with a lot of the parents that we see coming to us, talking to us about their students' grades. Your teens' grades is probably the biggest issue for everybody. So this is definitely a topic that we need to cover. So if you're not aware, it's an online grading book accessed via the internet. And so how many of you here are using Jupyter already or are comfortable with it? So a few of you, which is great because once again, I said sometimes the middle schools, there were a few years where some schools were using something different. It wasn't always Jupyter, but we do have that online access. Most of the schools have tried to use that an online program. We've had Jupyter here for the whole time, but we've also had other programs that we were using. So some of you might not be familiar with it. So this is a good introduction. So what I like about it, there's many aspects about it because you as a parent will have that control, a little more control, a little bit more power of checking your teenager's grades every day if you want, every hour if you want. So it's just having more control over what your teenager is doing in class, what is probably due next week. So it pretty much every teacher does it a little bit different, and some teachers might not update as often as you'd like, but some teachers are pretty quick about it. Some teachers do it on a daily basis. Some teachers might wait a couple days. Some teachers might wait a week, depending on the assignment. But this is something you can actually go into and check. Hey, what's going on? What's the next thing? What's happening? So that's what I like about Jupyter. Another thing I like about Jupyter, so there's many things you can do on Jupyter, but what I did, and possibly what some of you do, not only can you look in periodically every day, every hour, every other day, but my advice to you is sit down, especially if you have someone who's just starting high school, maybe your ninth or 10th grader, maybe you started it in middle school. Sit down with your teenager at least once a week and look at Jupyter together. Together. If that's something you haven't done already, if that's something you're not doing now, I recommend at least having that sit down conference with your teen to talk about each class, to talk about assignments. So that's something that I definitely recommend. So your teen knows not only are we going to sit down together, but I am also looking at your grades periodically. possibly every day, possibly every other day. This is something you're going to have to gauge with your son or daughter about where they're at in that aspect of homework, that maturity level, that responsibility of what's going on in each class. But I would recommend also do not get too comfortable. Even with your top students, still take a peek at it. Even when they're juniors and seniors, please take a look at it because you never know, because it will give you more information. It could even give you attendance information. So there's a lot you can get from Jupiter. If so, not only that, but your teenager should also be checking Jupiter. Many students do it on a daily basis, just so they're keeping check. Hey, wait a minute, did my teacher enter this grade correctly? Wait a minute, well, what did I get on this? Or what did, so every teacher has their own style of using Jupiter, but also every student has their own comfort level and style of how am I going to use this program. But to not use it, they should be looking in there. They should know what's going on with their current class, with their, whether it's a test, whether it's a quiz, whether it's a future assignment. That is something that they need to be actively engaging in, as well as parents on the side too, and with their teenager. And at some point, our hope is that before you even look there, your teen will be coming up to you and say, Mom or Dad, I got this on a test. So you won't even know, you won't even, so they will be coming up to you first before you even go up to them, and they're going to tell you maybe they got a C or a D on something that was difficult possibly. So that's the hope that at some point they will already be going up to you and saying, Mom, Dad, I kind of messed up, or this test was hard. So that way you're already, okay, well now they're telling me because they know I'm going to be looking. Yes, I did mention a little bit about that. At some point, we were doing different Canvas, and so we said everyone was going to do Jupiter. But the level of sometimes some teachers are better about putting things in often, periodically. So it depends. Some teachers might only do it once a week. Some teachers do it every day, depending on their assignment. Sometimes you'll see it's a bit sparser than other teachers. Some teachers like listing everything on there, everything. Because I know there's some parents in here that are not using Jupiter, come and see me, come and see someone else on campus, another staff member, so we can give you the account information if you are comfortable with that. But we also have on the other end of the spectrum where we do have some parents some students who don't have a computer at home possibly, who might not be as comfortable with Jupiter, which is okay too. We have students who come to the counseling center and check, which is fine. You can also come with your son or daughter to the counseling center to check. If that isn't always your comfort level, that's also an option. If you want to give us a call, that is also an option. But I would not wait too long, or they could use their phone too. They could use their phone. You could use your phone. So there's many different aspects of Jupiter that you could do on Jupiter. So it could give you updates too on a weekly basis. So let us know if you want us to help you at some point in time to get you started. But if that's not your comfort level at this point, it's okay too. But as long as you're sitting with your student, with your teenager, viewing something at some point at least once a week. Also, we have another option. We don't always do this option, but there's also a weekly progress report too on paper. If you want to do, like, have your son or daughter carry something around on like a Friday, and they can have the teacher sign it. It's like a weekly progress report, and they can bring it to you also. So we have that option too. If at this point Jupiter isn't something that you're thinking, okay, maybe not this year, that I want to give it a try, we also have that option that your son or daughter could do maybe like on a Friday when we have every period, so you can keep track on a weekly basis. But we do encourage you, but like I said, it's not mandatory, so that's another option. Okay. Um, so let's talk a little bit about homework. In addition to using Jupyter and the teachers listing what might be an assignment the next day, or whatever might be coming up, because every teacher is different, so they don't always list every item. Um, so we do come into a lot of situations, especially with our ninth graders, where they come and they say, I don't have any homework. Your teenager should have homework every day. Maybe it's not going to be a lot, but most of our, especially in high school, is very different from middle school. They should have homework every day. And so that was a little issue. We'll delve into it more into our other workshops. We're just touching on it right now, but some of the things that on top of Jupyter, besides having conferencing with your son or daughter about Jupyter at least once a week, sometimes some of the important maybe dinner time topics would be asking them questions about their possible assignments or homework. And we have some examples here, because a lot of times our teens do not like talking to us about their assignments or their homework, but it's important that we try to draw that out, so that, wait a minute, we're aware, do they have a project due? Is there a big project due? Is there an essay they're going to write in a class? Just to draw out more of their what's going on in school. And so these are some examples. Instead of asking questions that require yes or no, maybe asking them more, what will you be studying this evening? For the next hour, what homework will you be focusing on? Or what tests and quizzes do you have in the next couple of days? So these are just some questions to draw out. And you're gonna have to see what style, you probably do that already. It depends on your son or daughter. What is their style? What is their communication? How do you see them? How are you at home? So it kind of depends on your style. With my three children, I did have one of my, two of the three that weren't too open about it. And so when they were very young, I had to tell them, I said, okay, during dinner time, if I ask you about school, if you don't want to talk about school, you can write an essay for me about it. And so, and luckily well, I mean, yeah, that sounds strict, but it really wasn't. But just to draw them out a little bit more at the dinner table about what is going on with you at school, or what are you studying. So that worked for me very well, because they knew that when we sat there, they will have to share at least a part of their day with me, or what's going on in class, or what are you doing. Just they could share. So just so that they don't require that yes or no answer, at least they could share something about their day, about their homework, about their projects, something. So these are just kind of tips to possibly help draw them out of that being a teenager and not wanting to share much. That's just where they're at. Some do. Only you know your child, but some don't. So it just depends on your son or daughter, how communicative they are with you, how vocal they are with you about their day or what's going on with them. But sometimes teens tend not to want to share a lot. Some do, some don't. It just depends. So those two are big things. So communication also, this is something else that has come up a lot with some of our parents. We do enjoy it when you come and see us. Sometimes we are not always in our offices available. Sometimes we're doing other things, but we like it when you call the school. You can call the school, you can leave a message, you can even email a teacher, a staff member. We have everyone at the school, in the district, we all have the same email. So Well, except for the first, so it's the first name dot last name. Everyone else, the rest is the same. It's the same. Sometimes it's easier to get a response as opposed if you call and then leave a message, and at some point we need to get on the phone to call. Or if we get an email, possibly we could respond quicker. It just depends. But that's another mode of communication. We love it when you come by, but definitely you can email us as well. And then I'm gonna get to the next slide where it has our website. Jupiter Grades too has that option. Some of you here that do use Jupiter Grades might have used that option for any of the teachers or staff members where you could ask them a question on Jupiter. Some of you might have used it because we get that sometimes, the teachers get it too, but not everyone. So we want to provide options so that you have more options and what's your comfort level of communicating with us, but we want you to communicate with us, definitely. We also have the counseling center phone number, and not that you have to memorize it or anything, because you could just call and they'll transfer you over. We also have a website, and then we'll also show you the school website. So this website, once again, it has a lot of information. If it's not your comfort level, that's okay. You can come and see us. But just so you do know, it is there. It has a lot of tabs that you may find useful. We will also, like I said, be going over some of these areas in our future workshops. We'll delve into those areas because there's a lot of things to touch, to cover in high school. So this is just a picture of the home page for the counseling center. So there's a lot of different tabs that you can click on and find out more information and everything. But like I said, if that's not something you like doing or comfortable, give us a call, come and see us too. Because it's and sometimes it's not always, you're thinking, okay, what is this? So that's something also. We also have, some of you might also have gone on the school website. Okay, they also have their website that also has a lot of different tabs that you could click on with a lot of information. I have some stuff in the back that you guys already picked up that I found very helpful, not only as a counselor, but as a parent. This is helpful too, because sometimes we have confusions on what kind of schedule we have, whether it's a monthly, it's on the school website, but I have one out there. It's a monthly calendar of what's going on and what kind of schedule we have. Okay, this is very, very helpful. On top of that, what I really like is I like the dates to remember. This, let me go back to this slide. So the dates to remember. So this would be a good one to post on your refrigerator because it tells you when we have the progress reports. Yes, even though you're on Jupiter, it's good to check the progress reports because that's the grade the teacher is entering what your student has at this point. So it's important, when is the progress report date? Because what happens, we're gonna give them their progress report during that last period, and then they come home and ask them for their progress report because they have it. If they were here in school, they got it during sixth period, and they have it in their hot little hands, their progress report. Because it's important to see what did the teacher enter as a progress report grade, because that will eventually turn into a final grade. So it's just handy. It has the holidays. It has the minimum days. It has testing information. It has the assemblies. So that way you're aware of, oh, okay, this day you're doing this, and you could ask them. Or on this day, you're coming home early. Okay, then I expect you home at this time. So these are just little things that would be important to me, and I know are important to you. What is going on with your teenager at school? Will they be home early? Are they testing today? So that's a thing that I like posting on the refrigerator, the dates to remember, which we have it in the back as well. So once again, that's on the website. We have the student handbook, which every student got. I think, what was it, week 2 or 3? I'm not sure. Everybody got a student handbook. That is also on the website. Some of these pages that I gave you in the back are also in the student handbook with the dates to remember, the calendar. That is also on the student handbook, and it has a lot of information there. Yes.
As far as that is, on there that are highlighted, I know we get messages from school, like.
Yes.
Would that be something that you would consider, like, when that every day? As parents that are here, for these kind of messages, that are not here, would it, would not necessarily be able to potentially look at.
Yes.
So, is that something that would consider, so that we would.
Doing a message out when it's early day? You know what, that, I love that suggestion. Oh, could you, oh, thank you. Okay. They started.
It's not a roll,
The robocalls. Yeah. It'd be nice to do a robocall because not all parents I know use the website, and that's okay too. But I think in addition to, it would be a good reminder too. Um, and then at the same time too, sometimes on paper too, but sometimes things change. Once in a while, things do change in the calendar. And we try to let the students know, we try to let the parents know, but I think that's a good idea too. Um, so those of you that do, you know, have that comfort level, you can also do that as well. But if not, like I said, we have the paper form. We have it on paper too, and definitely call too if you have those doubts. Give us a call. Um, let's see what else. Okay, we did the dates to remember. They're in the back. Um, we also have on campus. I'm not sure. I saw Ms. Griggs in here. Okay, thank you. We have. She's passing out the handouts. I didn't have them prior to this, but we have an after-hours program as well, and those include a lot of different activities that your son or daughter might be interested in. Besides our athletic program that we do have, but that also includes some of those activities. And it could be in several different areas, sports, student leadership, clubs. They also have snacks. Snacks are included too. Um, so it's something to take a look at. We had something that we handed out, I believe, to the students, not the recent one, but a little bit ago. And it should be updated on our website now. But if not, we have the hard copy here. Um, so let's talk. Besides the after hours program, the tutoring. We have two different. I hate saying two different types of tutoring, but we have tutoring also. So the teachers have, and I have it in the back. Some of the teachers have their own tutoring. Not all teachers have their own tutoring. Okay, some do. But your son or daughter is welcome to attend another teacher's tutoring. We have them in every subject except for PE and the electives. But for English, math, science, social science, this is available. So don't feel that your son or daughter, they have to go to their own teacher. If they have that comfort level and if their teacher isn't doing the tutoring and they want to maybe ask their teacher at lunch, nutrition break, that is fine too. But if not, where there are other options. And the schedule it varies depending on the teacher and the days. The times vary slightly. And we try to update this also. One thing though that I did notice about many of our students that they wait too long. This is one big thing. They wait too long and then they're in trouble. and then they're like, oh my gosh, I have an F, I need to go to tutoring. If that's the issue that they need help. Um, so we encourage the students, please do not wait. If you need to talk to your teacher or if you want to go to tutoring, it should be done immediately. If they wait too long where they're already at a D or an F, it just gets harder. They just get further behind. And so that's one thing we're encouraging. Once one lesson or concept isn't understood, please, we want the students to react on their part. To say, hey, wait a minute, I didn't understand this. And then once they move on to the next lesson, it builds on top of that lesson, and I'm gonna get way too far behind. And so the tutoring, we encourage, if they're not understanding, we encourage the tutoring, please. If they can't do it with their teacher, maybe they could do it with one of the other teachers.
Yeah, my child has a seventh grade, then as much as she wanted to join in the tutoring
Yes.
class, she said that she cannot meet the seventh
Yes.
grade. So how, especially when she got a low grade.
That's an excellent question.
So that's very concerned now.
Yes.
How can she attend the tutoring when she has a seventh grade?
That is a good question. We have several students who have a seventh period, not everybody, because we're 1 through 6. We would encourage those students to speak with their teacher, and they're going to have to do maybe like a nutrition break, possibly, or like a mini lunch help session. Yes, the teacher on record. And if it,
Not the seventh grade teacher.
no, she has to attend seventh
She
period.
should have to attend the seventh
Yes, yeah,
period.
she,
That's what she told me, that it's mandatory.
yes. If they have a seventh period, they need to go to their seventh period. So we encourage them to speak to their teacher on record and to arrange for something with that teacher. If it's a problem, have them come and see their counselor, and then we can help them try to figure out what can we do. But definitely, they'll have to talk to their teacher of record and see if they can arrange for something a little different. Yes,
So
please.
the seventh period is hindering their academics, and it's better for them not to have their seventh period and do tutoring instead. That's a conversation that we can have with you also, because they probably don't need seventh period. Seventh period is an extra class that they're taking. So if they need to attend tutoring instead of going to seventh period, that's something that we can work on, because
Yeah, she said it would also affect her grades if
Right.
she wants to attend the seventh period.
right. So
Yeah,
we
so which one?
So she doesn't have, or students don't have to have a seventh period class. So our schedule here is 1 through 6. So if they're taking a seventh period, but their other classes are affected by that, then we can definitely have that conversation with you to remove the seventh period class, so then they can attend tutoring after school. So that's a conversation that we can have.
I don't know if it's also possible to talk to the teacher for the seventh period, so for that day on the day, she can excuse my child not to attend the seventh period, so that she can join the tutoring on the day. I don't know if that works.
Yeah, it doesn't really work that way.
Yeah, they probably won't.
Because it's a class, it's like saying, oh, I'm gonna skip period 1 because I need help in my other
Yeah.
class. It's kind of like that. If they have a seventh period class, they have to be there. Or not have seventh period, so they don't have to be there. But again, that's something we can talk about.
Yeah.
Because she don't want also to miss the seventh period.
Well, we could explore that more probably with our teacher on record. We'll probably have to explore what they can do on the side, because missing seventh period isn't an option. I mean, at this point. So,
They don't get the kids go to because they have seventh period.
yes, yeah, they have to go to their seventh period. Yes.
There is tutoring on Saturdays also. So on that schedule, and some teachers are here on Saturdays, that might be an
Yeah,
option.
that's also one problem because the band usually for this month
They
they
have
have
performances.
Saturdays scheduled
Mhm.
for the whole month of October.
So if that
It's
is
a conflict.
so if that is taking away from the academics, that's a conversation we can
Yes.
have.
Yeah, definitely. But we can definitely talk about it later and explore your son or your daughter's situation and talk about it.
already affected on her academic subjects.
Okay, well, definitely, well, if you want to have a conference with your counselor, we can do it. Okay, and thank you. So moving on, the Infernal Lounge, so some of you might have been aware already of the Infernal Lounge, and definitely it's a privilege to have a space like the Infernal Lounge. It offers some students an opportunity to study in a quiet place. Also, there are some avid tutors and some teachers, they're available for help. Um, it's also an opportunity if you have a student who needs to do a mini study group, whether it's with one person or another person. This is something we also encourage. This is a space for them. Also, it has many rooms, 10 rooms. Um, it's open after school until 5:30, but on Fridays it's until 4:30. But once again, this is something that if your son or daughter would like to study maybe by themselves, they could do that, but also with a group. But once again, sometimes it does take that more mature and responsible son or daughter that is probably already doing that or probably wants to give it a try. Maybe this is something I would like to try with my peer so that way we can help each other, maybe study for a test, maybe work on a project. And so that way they have the space in the Infernal Lounge after school to do that. And but it's not for goofing off or carrying on, which the teens they like doing that, but it's supposed to be a quiet place, and we encourage that. I know it's the theme, the Infernal. So we encourage that, especially for as the students get older, to start trying that studying with peers, maybe before a test, or so that can bump up, test each other, bump up ideas. So that's definitely encouraged as the students get older to study with their peers, help each other out. So this is a spot that is also available after school. Um, in attendance, I like touching on attendance with some of the students. Just basically calling um, when your son or daughter will be absent, and sometimes some of those illnesses we think, okay, maybe they should stay home, maybe not. If you're unsure, you can call the nurse and say, hey, my son or daughter has these are the symptoms. Should they not stay home? And so she'll give you guidelines. I just put one up here. But definitely, if you're not sure about that, call the nurse. If you're not sure about the symptoms they're experiencing, please call. If you're going to be absent, please call. We have wonderful attendance coordinators on campus who are here to help you. So basically, I just want to touch on this a little bit. We're going to delve into it a little bit more. But the goal at this point is we want teenagers and parents to be together in on their experience here in high school because it is different than middle school. And just like I was saying about talking to them about their grades and what's going on in class. I mean, use those opportunities that you have. Maybe if you can't always have dinner with them, maybe it's in the car when you're driving them somewhere. Any opportunity that you have to have those conversations with them, because that is extremely important, especially during this age where they don't want to talk to you. Some of them don't. I mean, maybe we have those that do, but many times our teens are very quiet. They don't want to share what's going on with them. And so definitely try to use those opportunities to communicate with them more and ask them about their day. The next topic, and then here I put place computer in central area and home, not in bedroom. So this topic has been really big that I noticed with a lot. Every time I have a parent conference, almost every time, that is a big issue. because it's changing. It's changing every day. It's changing here. So everybody with their phone, our assignments are on the computer. Everyone has a laptop. So as time goes by, technology is changing. It's increasing. And so these are just some statistics for the average 8 to 18-year-olds, how many hours they spend actually, whether it's a computer, whether it's their phone. So it's when I saw it, I was like, wow. And it was pretty alarming to me. I mean, I'm not shocked, but I was like, that is way more than I ever thought it was. And so with a cell phone, and possibly everyone here might already have those rules in place, but I will tell you that each time I have had some parents who have had a lot of issues, their son or daughter is always on the phone or using the phone and wants to use the phone. It's normal, but definitely if you already have those rules in place at your home, if not, I encourage it because then they'll be on there 24 hours a day. Whether it could be, maybe your rules might be, okay, don't use it when we're eating dinner. That's a really good one that I like. Or maybe when we're at family gatherings. At night, that is, I've seen a lot of problems with the teens with their phone in the middle of the night, under their covers or in the room with the door closed. That is a big one. It's a normal behavior, but they're gonna try to sneak that phone into the, and then try to, it happens all the time, and that's one where you might need to put the phone in your area, a central area, maybe in your room, in the kitchen, I don't know where. But yeah, I mean they'll go on that phone, they'll sneak on, and then they'll be half awake or asleep, who knows what. So that's something that I definitely feel that if you haven't already explored it with your team, you have to set those guidelines because that has disrupted a lot of, and they're at that age where that's going to be their main, their socializing is very normal, but they could just get out of hand quickly. It gets out of hand. And so that's something that we definitely encourage you to set those guidelines for your son or daughter with their cell phone usage. And then I've also seen it with whether it's a video games, very popular. They're on there for 3-4 hours at a time. The same thing. When it's overly done, it will disrupt their homework, whatever else you have for them to do at home, because they're on there 3 to 4 hours at a time. Maybe it's not a video game, maybe it's something else. And so for some of the students, that is a lot of time. So creating that balance with your son or daughter is very important. If they can only handle maybe the 30 minutes of a video game, okay, you get 30 minutes on Monday. If they can't, maybe you only get Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to go on your gaming, whatever. So you have to kind of gauge that with your son or daughter, and as they mature, it will get better. It will get better. And so it kind of depends on your son or daughter and how they are. I had to do that with my son because the oldest, because he loved going on his video games. Back then, there wasn't too much cell phone usage, but that's what he loved doing. So I had to limit him. I said, you know what, this isn't happening. I gave him 30 minutes on Monday, but I had to totally limit that and just say, you can go on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. But so that worked for him. So with the other two children that I had, theirs was a little bit different. But so I had to kind of see, okay, what's going to work for them? How are they going to be most successful with these rules I'm placing on him or her? And so you kind of have to see what is going to work for your son or daughter. Is this working currently with them? That are they doing well with what they're doing now? And many times, they're teens, just like us. We want to spend time with what we want to do. They're the same. They're the same. So just kind of creating that balance for them, so that they know, okay, mom or dad is going to expect this from me. And so I better follow those rules and even if they say, well, I don't have anything to do, I don't have any homework. Well, that's okay. You could but you're not going on. So continue with those rules, because if not, they're just gonna say, well, I'm gonna say the same thing, they'll let me go on the computer or use my phone or whatever it is, the rules that you placed. Um, So these are just some of the things that I've seen that have, have distracted many students from doing well in school. You know, it's their social media, social networking, grades. Those are the main points. But definitely, what Ms. Arroyo mentioned in the beginning, we definitely want to delve into some more of those topics that we feel are important in high school. We want to, hopefully you will attend the next series because there's so much more to cover. We have high school graduation requirements. We have career planning, and then more of that social, emotional health that we feel is also important to our son or daughter. We want to delve into that a little deeper because there's more to a teenager than just what I mentioned. And then just communicating more with your teenagers. So there's much more that we want to cover, and I don't know. We just did like an introduction. If anyone had questions at this point, and then there's a post survey too before you leave. So I don't know. Anyone have any questions? Yes.
So who monitors the Illinois?
We have a coordinator who is in charge of our after hours program. I think you might have seen her in here, Miss Griggs. She might have stopped in. She was the one who gave us the handout with the after hours. So she's in charge of the program, and we have there's always an adult certificate in there every day after school. There can't be someone who's not. Yes. So, but she's in charge of the whole program. Yes. Good question.
¿Tienen alguna recomendación para, para los programas después de escuela?
Pues depende. Oh, I'm saying English. Or I mean Spanish. Like that. Oh, she said, are there any, ¿les puedo decir a todos? Sí, okay. She was asking if there are any recommendations we have for students who have an IEP. So for any after school activities. So depending on what your student enjoys, what kind of hobbies they have or what they're interested in, and then we'll, depending on what they're interested in, then we'll kind of say, hey, maybe this program or that. But we want to see what they're interested in first before we start saying this or that, because we want them to enjoy the activity.
What's nice about the after-school program, the three-page handout that you have, is the after-school program is built on student interests. So if your children have an activity that they want to suggest to Ms. Griggs for an after-school activity through the after-school program, they're more than welcome to talk to her. And if there's like 6 kids who want to do an after-school program, Ms. Griggs will help make it happen for them. So the after-school program is really built on student interest. So if kids want to do something, they just need to talk to her and she'll help them make it happen.
Well, I have the same thing that I gave you in the beginning was a pre-survey. I don't want to say test because I didn't like that. But we have the post. It's the same question. So hopefully it'll come out. But I wanted to thank everybody for coming, for being patient as we present our first series in this. Is it 6 or 7? 7 workshops. Because we do want to go more into detail of more. There's a lot more high school, more things involved in high school. Oh, that's the free. No, because you want to just, you can do the post. You can do the post. No, nomás esta para usted. Okay.
No, es la señora Chávez Casas. Ajá, ajá. Si quiere ahora. Ah, ajá, ella. Ajá. Ajá.
¿La C?
Hasta las C-A-M.
Where's the cursor?